Hello, everybody, here on Trading Within the Box. Here, good evening. Here on February 20th, 2025, at 5:09 p.m. after the market has closed. We're going to go over a bunch of stocks, but first of all, this is not a recommendation to buy, hold, sell, or any stocks, equities, futures, forex, or options in the stock market. This is an educational video only. If you'd like to purchase stocks, please contact a licensed professional and they will help you there execute trades. Okay, so we're just going to go over the markets. Let's go over first. We're going to go to the S&P 500 because we want to see what's actually happening here. Now, on the S&P, remember what we had going on in this spot right here, okay? I want to show you something here on the daily chart, okay? Remember this. We had this, and then we had this, and then we had this, okay? So we could be getting that head and shoulders, the bullish head and shoulder area. Now, I'm not 100% sure about that, but if we did break that neckline right there in that spot, so that is a good sign. Right now, we did make that all-time high there. So as we go into, let's go over to and stretch everything back here. Now, we've gotten a little sloppy in this range as we had that pullback, okay, and that pullback ended on Monday on January 13th, okay? So we're going to go over the weekly chart right now, okay? Remember, we only have one more day left in the week here, so let's see what's happening with the volume. Now, you're way up at that resistance, and you have a doji almost on the weekly here, so your volume's falling off, so you're gonna probably pull back. You could inch a little higher, but you are going to pull back here, okay? So that's how they always do that, okay? You see the volume drop off. The volume drop. We got the wrong size here. Look at the volume drop off. Okay, see that? You see the void in this spot right there. Okay, so that's looking at the weekly on the S&P. Now let's go to XLF's bank basket. Okay, now the bank basket, the same situation. Far away from the moving average because they always pull back when they are. Okay, this is behavior. This is market behavior. Remember. Okay. That's exactly what's happening here, okay? And that's what we're following, okay? We're following volume, but we're following the money, okay? Now we're at this big resistance area right here, okay? So let's see if this is going to pull back on the XLF, okay? Now the volume's coming in for the profit taking here, okay? If you go to the daily chart, now watch with the daily chart, you did get up and above the last high right up in this area, which was on November 27, 2024, okay? So you did get up and above those last highs from also January 30th, and then up in this area February 7th, okay? But you pull back, and it's not a surprise to pull back with good volume because that's what you're far away on the weekly, and the weekly will pull back as you're into that range. Doesn't mean it can't stop here and then keep going, okay? It doesn't mean that, okay? That we're just following what they're doing. SMH with the semiconductors. Want to know what the semiconductors are doing? We got a doji up here, okay? And right in this spot here, we're going into this downdraft here. Now, when we came down, we're going up a much lighter volume into this area, so we could fail in here. Don't be surprised if you're going to get this pullback here, okay? Now, IWM, typed in the symbol wrong. Let's go to IWM, and on IWM, look at that. Now, you got a weakness here with the semiconductors. Look at the semiconductors, how weak they are if you're looking at it straight on. You do see that with the semis that you're in this range. Okay, look at this range that you're in here, right? See that? Trading within the box. So let's see if we just keep bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. That's a sideways consolidation, okay? We're going to be looking for relative strength, too, on certain stocks like Microsoft, okay? We don't know for sure, but we'll see if that just continues going up, okay? And that's as that market pulls back and you get your stocks, look for the stocks that are going up, then you got the relative strength going on. And relative strength is great when you got a market pulling back because you'll know which ones are the strongest at that moment, okay? Now, on IWM with the weekly chart, we should be pulling back here, okay? The Qs, the three Qs, let's look at the three Qs. And now the 3Qs are very strong. So if you have stocks in the 3Qs, look at the volume and look what's going on. That's good news, actually. See that? You keep riding the rope on the weekly. There's a weekly chart on the Qs. Now you just keep riding that rope. Now you're coming up to a point where you could possibly get up a little higher, then you'll be pulling back. But this is very, very solid because this week's volume is very soft on the profit taking. It's not like the profit taking is big, okay? So the weekly on the Qs is looking good. Let's look at the daily on the Qs. Now, on the daily chart of the Qs, this is not a surprise. You get up and above the resistance, you get a little profit taking. But they did, when it did hit the 9-day moving average, it did capitulate. So that's solid. Doesn't mean it's not going to pull back. Okay, so now let's go to all world Microsoft as we always do, because that's the big dog. And look at Microsoft. Now, with Microsoft, we were going over this weeks ago, and we thought we were going to test it down maybe about a week ago or so. We knew we were going to test this area right here. We did, okay, because we got below that, and then we got below that. Now, when that came back into this first area, what do they always do? That's where all the shares are to buy, are right down here. You got to think of it reversed, okay? So that's when you got the big pop. Okay, now the same thing again here. Now the only difference was when we got this, look at the volume here in this area, and then look at the volume here in this area. Now this is accumulation of buying. Now let's go over to line chart and let's see if we got it. Now we got a small little W here, and we're going to hit we got increasing volume, but we're going to slam right into the 20-day moving average. Let's see if we get up and above the 20, okay, and then we go to the 50. And we get up and above the 50, we should be heading up into, well, we're probably heading in the 434 range if that continues, if that trend continues. How we will always know, first of all, let's go to the weekly chart, and we want to see the big picture, okay? We want to see the 40,000-foot view of what's happening in Microsoft. Now, on Microsoft, don't be surprised because what's happening here, exactly right here. Right off this area is where we're buying, okay? Where's they're buying? Now, you do have, on the weekly, you have more sellers than buyers, okay? You had less sellers here when they were coming down. Now, that is a different story here. You got more sellers coming down in this area than you did into this area, okay? So let's see what they're going to do. This could still be downtrending on the weekly chart. We could be getting these pops and then pulling back. So let's see. See how you have the lower highs, okay? You could possibly get up into this area here and then fail in this spot and we'll have the third lower high, okay? So look at that, okay? In a bigger picture with the monthly chart on Microsoft, because we really want to know what Microsoft's going to do, because that's the leader. Now, there's a lot of pressure to the downside here on Microsoft, okay, on the monthly chart. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get down to the 390s or whatever, but let's see what happens. Now, what's bad here on the monthly chart, which is not a good thing, but it's not 100% correct, but it could be, is that you have the two tweezers right here. And when you have the two tweezers in a row, it's usually a 90% chance of down. Now, that's not always 100% true. We could still stay in this range here and look at the box. We could trade right in the box right here on a monthly. You got this month, maybe you get next month, like this up here. You don't know. Okay, but we will follow the smaller time frames to go through, like, for instance, on the 2-hour chart. And what is the 2-hour chart? Now, we were watching the 2-hour chart the other day. What do we see here, okay? Now, we came all the way down after the earnings. So we had the flush out of volume right there. And we came down and we tested this area right down here in this 404. I think it was 4. Let's see what it was. The low was 404.17. And that was on February 3rd, okay? So that was a bad point for Microsoft, but you got capitulation. We came back. Now, when we came back into this area here, we were right into the spot. Look at this volume here, then look at this volume here. Now, when we came back here into these areas, we came back with much lighter volume here. See it? Then, so we're coming back with lighter volume for the W formation. That's what we're waiting for here. Now, the right side is lower, so it's not as strong, okay? But what are we looking for here now? Let's stretch this baby out. Now look at this. We did get up and above and right into this area. We pushed into this right here. Now what is this? This is the middle of the W right here. So we want to see a follow through past this point. If we fail past this point, it's weak. If we start to go up and break this area right at here, in that, I think it's in the 418 to 419 range, we break that, we go to 420.52, okay? Then you'll have resistance in that spot, okay? But you won't have heavy, you're not going to have heavy resistance in that spot. Now, let's see if we're going to get to that point there, okay? Look at the volume now coming in on Microsoft. Now, yesterday, look at the volume, okay? That's good volume right there. Boom, okay? But we want to get this little cluster, want to break out from there. That's how we're going to be able to see if we're going to get to the next level, okay? You could always go to a 30-minute chart, because 30-minute chart also shows some nice volume, and you'll see really what they're kind of doing, okay? You'll see right there. Now we have a stochastic on the bottom on a 30-minute chart, and we're at a support area, okay? So we want to try to get this, and then tomorrow we get the engulfing and we start heading up again. That's what we want to see. And then we want to see it bust out past that point, okay? So that's what we want to see on Microsoft. So that's the story of Microsoft. Let's go over to a 3-hour chart on Microsoft. And as you look at the 3-hour chart, look at the volume that had come in yesterday, okay? And you had decent volume right off the first 3 hours of the market, okay, on Microsoft. Now, let's go to Amazon. Amazon took a little bit of profit, right? And now here's the story with Amazon. Now, let's first go to the weekly chart because we want to see the direction, because we only have one more day here. And we have pressure to the downside here on Amazon now, okay? We have pressure to the downside. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get one of these. It doesn't mean. But because you have a weekly heading down, you have a weekly right there pointing down, and you have less selling volume as you're coming back, which is good, okay? So you are reaching a support spot right there. So we wanted to see if it stops and goes up. Now, if it breaks down, you'll be heading down to the 20-day moving average, okay? And you'll probably be at the bottom of this range of the on the weekly here, okay? And the bottom of that range might be 217, okay? So let's see in the range. I'm saying exact numbers here, you know. Go to a daily chart on Amazon, and on Amazon, look at the breakdown. Now we do have a major support area right here at 222. Okay, so let's see what they're gonna do there. Now let's look at the 2-hour chart to see where the buying and the selling is coming in here. Okay, we're still trending down here on a short-term trade for Amazon. Okay, so if somebody's in here and they've been shorting it, they've been doing pretty good. Now every time you get into that range where you're shorting, let's say you're going to short here at 229, you got to know at the support level, you better put your limit order right there. Okay, and take your profit at the support, because they're always going to bounce because they have to cover, okay? So right now, we still have more sellers than buyers on Amazon, okay? So that's the story with Amazon. Let's go over to Apple. Now, Apple looking good. Now, this was a very, very happy moment on Apple now because why? Look where we are. The last high, where we were at in this 248 range, we're not that far away from it. Now, we were mad because remember, we were down here, okay, in January. We were all the way down here at 218. So look at the recovery. And we knew it because how did we know it? When we were talking about that video from February 11th, we knew it when it busted up and above here. Now, it busted up and above and it pulled back. Now, when it pulled back, it was off the hours, but it was on the support level at no volume, okay? Then they came back in, and what did they do? So we got up, we got past the trading within the box right in this spot, and then we had support right there, okay? So what happens? As we pulled back with no volume, we got the volume started to kick in. You have to get past this point, and then boom, the shorts cover. The shorts that are sitting right up in this spot, they have to turn around and they have to buy, okay? So that's what happens at that spot. Drift back, boom, to support engulfing, and then sideways consolidation, engulfing. There's a step-up pattern, okay? And those are very, very strong. Now we have, look at this, on on Apple. We get the sideways move. Look at this. Now there's a thing of beauty here because we're going to be going right into that 248 range. We should be, okay? Now look at the thing of beauty today, okay? This is beautiful because this shows that there's a lot of interest in buying. Look at the buying. Look at the buying. Not as much, a little profit taking here, small amount of profit, then boom, they come back in and then buying again, okay? So we got a sideways consolidation here with a lot of buying, okay, here, and then boom, we should get a pop up to the upside, okay, on Apple. Now, on Apple, we had a trend, we did have a trend change on that weekly chart as we started crossing up, and that was a few weeks ago, okay? So now we're going up into that spot, and we want to see. Now, we do have earnings on the week of April 21st, okay? So we want to see what we do when we go into this range here, okay? So that's the story with that, okay? Now, we go to Meta. Now, with Meta, now let's see. With Meta on the weekly chart, how many more minutes we have here? Okay, we got about 10 more minutes. Now, with Meta on the weekly chart, don't be surprised what's happening here, okay? So you had a huge, enormous surge from the earnings, okay, which was right in this spot right here. You got up and above, and then, of course, you're going to get a pullback. You're never going to go straight up forever. Came here, pulled back. Came up here, pulled back a little bit. Came up here, pulled back. Okay, came up here, we had a little bit, but it was so strong, it just kept riding the rope, riding the 9-day moving average. Now, if this thing is really powerful, and again, 9 days in this range right here, and where's that range? Let's say it catches up to it at around 682, okay? It holds it and then start buying off of it, it's not going to be a surprise, okay? That's not going to be a surprise. So that's what we're waiting for. That could be a few weeks away from where we are now. Now, let's go over to the daily chart. Now, watch the daily. Daily got pulled back, 20-day moving average sitting on support, dojis, okay? Right in that spot, right there. We hit the resistance area right in that spot. And the high was on February 14th, was at 740.91. Now we're at a crucial support area on Meta. Okay. Now if Meta holds in this spot, now Meta drops, then we're going down in this range here. Okay, we could be heading down to 662. Okay, so they did take a lot of profit here, but let's see if the trend on that weekly. Okay, now with the weekly being straight up there, let's see if we get this going on. And these are very powerful when you get this. We get an embedded stochastic on the weekly, and we start going like this, and we start just keep trending up, and we end up at 820. So that's what we're going to be watching for on Meta. Okay, let's go over the 2-hour chart and let's see what the survey says. And what are they doing? Taking profits here. They're selling. Okay, right now they're selling Meta. Okay, now don't be surprised if you get down to the 686. Okay, that's what's going on here with Meta. You knew they were going to take profit at that spot. You knew it. You're way far away from the moving average on the weekly chart. So that's not a surprise. You see the breakdown right here. Okay, you had the breakdown, you had the profit taking, and they're pulling the profits out. Okay, they made their money and pulling them out. Now let's go over to Costco. On Costco, now Costco taking profits too, right? Of course, they're going to take profits. Now this here is solid for a short because look at this. You get the sideways, boom, you get the first leg down, taking the profit at support, drift back. This is a step down pattern, which are very strong down. Now, you're at support. We want to try to get a pop up in this range, okay, here. Now, I think you still have time down to the downside here. Volume's pretty strong for the downside, okay, at Costco, okay. This is no surprise at all, because why? Because Costco was up here at 1074, and they will pull this back. You're way far away from the moving average on the weekly chart. The weekly chart and the resistance and support levels are the most powerful levels of support and resistance there are. Okay, and obviously the monthly chart. Okay, but we don't want to go that far out. We want to try to catch these trades. Okay, so go into GE, which is GE Aerospace, and that's 208.74. Now, this is a thing of beauty. Look at on the weekly chart. Look at the W formation right here, and W right here. Boom, boom. Higher right side. Boom. Okay. Now, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised here. Now, look at this. Okay. Now look at this. We're on GE Aerospace. Okay, you're all the way up here. You're very solid, but you're far away from moving averages. Okay, so you could get a little bit of a pullback. You're going to go to 2-hour chart. Okay, and now we're starting to break down a little bit. Okay, let's see if it holds and then breaks. Now, if it doesn't, we did have some selling right up in this area right here. This 210. Okay, we had a big seller come in there. Now it starts breaking down on the 2-hour chart. You'll know if you start getting a leg down and you get past the low of 207.28, you could end up at 204. Okay, so just letting you know what's happening there. Okay, we have a cross up with the stochastic, but with much lighter volume. Let's see if they'll get it up to go up. Okay, now GEV, the GE Vernova, this one took a beating. Remember what happened? Okay, now we came back up to that 383, but we can't break that range. Now, we did have on a 2-hour chart, we have a lot of selling coming on in here, but we have a support level. Let's see if they're going to bounce this back up. Okay, now on the we don't want to break this 50. Now, if we break this 50, we could be in trouble. Okay, on GEV. Okay, that could become a problem. Now, with the daily chart, we have some volume kicking in on the selling side. Now, let's see what's going to happen with the volume. This is a good sign on GE for longer term by the weeks. Okay, you have a huge volume stick right here, and you're pulling back with very light volume right in this spot. Now, let's go over to W. Let's go over to the line chart. And we want to see what's happening. Now, if this thing starts to turn, okay, and we start to turn up, then we could get this thing and test the high again. Now, if it doesn't turn up, what's going to happen? Okay, it's going to keep trending down. And we'll probably hit that 50-day moving average. And if you're in it and you got killed, that's why the earnings, you have to be very careful when you have your stock and earnings, especially at resistance levels. Okay, now Google. Let's go over to Google. On Google here, we have support. We're at a major support area, but we have a downward pressure on Google. Now, on Google, look at the downward pressure for a correction. Okay, from here. Now, you want to see it hold that 20-day moving average. The volume's lightening up on the selling. Okay, see it going down? That's a good sign as we're sitting at a major support area. Now, don't be surprised if you're at 182. Okay, don't be surprised. There's a major support area there. Okay, don't be surprised. Now, let's go over to the 2-hour chart. I want to see what's happening. Now, this is a good sign on the 2-hour chart here. Okay, this is a good sign for now. Let's see if we're basing the way that time Apple did after the drop. Okay. Let's see if we're basic, because we did have some covering coming in here. Okay, we had some covering coming in, so let's see what they're going to do with that. Now, on Shake Shack, SHAK, Shake Shack here now had a nice little pop and it had good volume. So the earnings came in on Shake Shack good. Okay, so look at this. Now, look at this. We were all the way down. Now, this wasn't too long ago. February 12th, where were we? We were all the way down here at 105. Now 123. Okay, that's a good sign. Maybe we'll get to the 133 range. Okay, we'll get to that range. Now, weekly chart. Look at this. Okay, the earnings very solid with a crossover. So we want to see the follow through here. Want to see the follow through. Every time what happened to Shake Shack, every time we got those massive, actually, let me do the ink a little bit lighter. We have those massive towers of volume. Okay, had it here, boom. We had it here. Okay, boom. Okay, once we had the earnings, now we have it here again. Boom. Okay, with the earnings on Shake Shack, doing good. Okay, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. That's why we went to the 2-hour chart and we said, "Oh my God, look at this! Look at these guys in here." Okay, this is a very good sign right here. Boom. Look at the volume. Now, as you stretch your chart back, look at the volume picking up. Look at the increasing. This is textbook increasing volume. Okay, right there. Okay, and of course you're going to hit resistance levels. You're going to pull back, but that's a great sign after earnings on Shake Shack. We were looking for that, and we've been waiting. Actually, how long? Okay, let's see how long we've been waiting for that one. We've been waiting that one since the beginning of December. And then it was all the way at the top at the beginning of November. Okay? And it pulled back. So this is a nice little gift here at a major support area. And then you also had a huge volume stick here. They always go back to them, remember? And what did it do? It did. It went right back to it. Now you have another massive volume here. Okay? You have another massive volume here. Let's see if we can get a little bit of inch up a little bit here. Okay? So the 2-hour chart had some beautiful volume on Shake Shack. Now Uber, let's go over to Uber because we're watching Uber. And Uber what? Remember what we were saying. Now, remember we had the cluster here. Right here. We had a massive buying right in this spot right here. And then it broke out and then bam, all the shorts that were pushing down in here, and that turned around and bought. Okay. Now you're at 81.26. Want to try to tag this area up here if we could. Okay. Now, obviously you'll know that because you'll see how far and extended your weekly chart is. Okay, you'll see, and that's a beautiful W, by the way. Look at that W formation on the weekly chart, which are always so strong with incredible volume. Boom. Now you're going to get dojis as you're losing steam here. Look at the volume, getting killed with your weekly all the way up in the sell area. So you're way up in that spot there. Okay, on Uber. Okay, we want to see if we can get to the highs on Uber. So we're waiting for. We'll have a few dollars more here for Uber, and we've been waiting for that one for a while. Now TMO, which is Thermo Fisher. Now Thermo, in the last few weeks, we got up to that range. Now the last 2 weeks we got hit. Okay, so Thermo's coming back to the support area. Okay, so the week of January 27th, let's go over to, that's because of the earnings. And right after the earnings, it got slapped. Okay, now, but sometimes you got to wait a little bit. You got to have, this is a business of patience, right? Right here at a major support area. What happened right there? Whatever it is, in the 521 range. Okay, we bottomed out, and then we want to see if we're going to start getting a trend change. Now the daily chart crossed up. Okay, let's go over to the weekly chart and see actually what's going on there. We have downward pressure here on the weekly chart, but we can be caught with it stopping here and turning. How you'll know? Obviously, 2-hour chart, as we always do. Now we're trend changing a little bit, but we had a little profit taking here. Okay, so we want to get past this level. Actually, we want to shift maybe tomorrow. Now, in the and the aftermarket, there was buying here. We want to get a pop above here so we can get to 553. That's what we're waiting for. We want a trend change here on the 2-hour chart. That's a beautiful thing if we start trending up. Now, remember with the weekly, you got trending down, but if you get capitulation here, you can come back up. Okay. Now, the last one, TT, which is Train Technologies. Now, with Train, we hit that support area and we got the bounce. Now, we got dividends coming up on the week of March 3rd. Okay. Now, with TT, Train Technologies, let's go over the peaks here. Let's go over the peaks. Okay, so we have top right here. We have one peak. We have 2 peaks. We could even call this the third one. Now, this could be the fourth one. Okay, so which is a good sign. Okay. That's a good sign. Now, this is still kind of trending down here. Look at the channel. Look at the channel. Okay. Look at that. Let's see if we get up into this spot. Of course, as we always do, we go to the 2-hour chart, and now we want to see if we're going to start trending up. Now, look at this. Now, in Train Technologies, I want to show you something. We only have a few more minutes here, and 30 minutes long, this video here. But I wanted to go over everything in detail. Look at this thing of beauty here. Look at the buyers. This is accumulation. This is called accumulation and increasing volume yesterday. It took a little bit of a break. We want to get up and above, okay? This area right here. Now, where was that area? That was in the 370.79. Okay, we want to get to that so we can get up to 373 possibly. So that's what we're looking for. Now, we got good volume on that 2-hour chart, which is a nice thing, okay? As we were coming down, the volume was drying. Now, watch the volume drying as it's hitting the support area. See how dry it is? Right there. Boom. They come back in. You got accumulation with increasing volume. You got a little more accumulation, and then boom, another spot of increasing volume. So I'm going to try to get this, and then we start heading up here. And then we start trend changing on TT, okay? That's what we're waiting for on TT, okay? With that said, I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and happy trading.